Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Barnard Refresh, which is a new series hosted this summer by Student Experience and Engagement, where we reintroduce you to campus resources and staff. Every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube interviewing a staff representative from an office on campus. Then the following Tuesday, you can join us for Treat Yourself Tuesday on Futter Field at 12 p.m. from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., where you can meet with the student experience and engagement staff along with the staff representative that we just interviewed. And it's a way to connect with us in person following the interview. We have a special guest with us today. Miriam Neptune is the Barnard Library's Director of Teaching, Learning, and Digital Scholarship, and currently co-interim Dean of the Library until mid-August of 2021, along with Kristen Hogan and Melanie Hibbert. She manages the Personal Librarians Program. Miriam is a filmmaker whose past work focuses on Black women confronting race and gender-based injustice in the US, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti. As an academic librarian, Miriam specializes in using library space to start community conversations about challenging topics. For example, this fall, she's working with a team of faculty, students, and community members to host the Undesigned the Red Line exhibit, which looks at the history of a form of legalized segregation in cities across the US and how the legacy of this policy from the 1930s is still with us today. Miriam earned her BA from Pomona College in Black Studies and Media Studies, a master's in Cinema Studies at New York University, and master's in Library Science at St. John's University. She is a mom of two boys, ages 8 and 12, and loves being an urban gardener in the Bronx. So without further ado, let's welcome Miriam Neptune.
Hi, Rashawn.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you
Hi.
so much for being here. And we're so excited to have the students learn about all the work the Barnard Library is doing, because it's, without a doubt, a great resource for students to have on campus.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to share about the library. It's a great place.
Yes, yes. So start off by telling us, what your role is on campus and what your office, offers.
Great. Well, thank you. As you said in the introduction, thank you so much. My title is Director of Teaching, Learning, and Digital Scholarship. And what that means is that I coordinate programs where the librarians and the research support that we offer will show up in classes. And we organize ourselves to make sure that everybody on campus, including staff, but specifically faculty and students, all have a librarian that they connect with. So you will get to know your librarian usually through an email that you get from your librarian when you first enter Barnard. We assign people by their last names. We used to do it by residence hall, but during the pandemic we had to change that system. So now everybody gets a librarian who gets to know them when they're coming in by their last name. And then you might choose or find a new librarian because of your major. So if you change your major, you'll get to know the librarian who's affiliated with the academic department that you're in. And we welcome people to just come and talk to us about everything, any questions you have, like any research you're trying to do. And that research can be like something you're doing for a class, for an assignment, or just because you have an interest and you're not really sure where to get started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's great that they can,
Yeah.
rely on you all to kind of make those, connections and, have this academic research to support, what they're doing, in the classroom. And I love that everyone gets assigned a librarian, like someone they can, have be their go-to person. In addition to the kind of personal librarian, are there other, resources and kind of things that are offered at the library, whether it be like archives? I know I've heard a lot about the zine library and the things of that nature. Kind of what other, features are, available at the library?
Oh, sure. Yeah, the library is huge, by the way. For a small college library, we are big, we're physically big, but we also are connected to all of the 22 other Columbia libraries. We're considered a branch of those libraries. So this is a place for you to get started if you're trying to get access to things at other libraries as well. But our library is known for our feminist collections, our emphasis on critical studies and art history, dance, so a lot of creative areas. And as you mentioned, we have a zine collection, and that is one of the biggest in the country. And it is, I think it has 30,000 zines. I'm probably misquoting how many zines we've got now. And Jenna Friedman is our zine librarian. I encourage everyone to get to know her. There's a Barnard zine club that uses the zine library. And so if you make zines, you can, join the club, but you can also submit your zines to the library. They do workshops and they offer them throughout the year. We also have the Barnard Archives and special collections, and that's where you can go to basically find out anything you're interested in about Barnard's history. We also collect in the area of women who've done incredible things, people working on gender justice. We have actually all of BCRW's archives in our archives, but one special collection that is really popular right now and that we're very proud of is Ntozake Shange's collection. Ntozake is known as a poet, playwright, dancer. She passed away a couple of years ago, but before that, she spent a lot of time on Barnard's campus, and she actually gave us many of her personal records, and we're actually acquiring many more. So you can go into the archives and see manuscripts that Ntozake wrote. You can see her novels that she was reading in when she was a Barnard student, and some of the notes on the inside, her poetry, handwritten, and you can work with those materials for research projects.
Yeah, what an amazing resource! Like not only to have prestigious Barnard alum, interact with the campus, but to have a piece of her still within the campus community that students can rely on. I know I've met with people from the archives and seen some amazing work there. So our students who are also watching and our student leaders, some of your organizations, may have, like flyers and pictures and things of that nature in the archive. So definitely reach out to them and kind of get a little bit of your history.
Yeah.
If it exists. But in addition to kind of these resources, I know the library does programming, as well. Are there any programs that are happening, coming up either while we wrap up the summer or that you're looking forward to doing for the fall semester that students, may be excited to know about?
Yes. So we are getting ready. We're ramping up for the fall. We're excited to orient everyone back to the building. We've been doing everything remotely. So we know that there are students who, were on campus before but haven't had access to campus for over a year. So we're welcoming them back to do a tour with us during the NSOP week. We don't know exactly which day it is, but August 30th to September 2nd, there will be a period of time when you can come in for time tours of the library with a librarian or a staff person. And you can also join us for I lost my train of thought. Let's see, what else do we have? We're going to do a special workshop for Access Barnard students, and that will be with our partners in circulation, including Quincy Williams, who runs the circulation services. He's an amazing librarian. I hope everybody will come in and get to know him. If you come in to check out a book, you will probably meet Quincy and his team. And we are also going to offer some walkthroughs of the library, because we were thinking about the fact that, as I said, some people are not really sure, how to get started with the library and might want some more like one-on-one support. And so so in the first part of the fall, we plan to offer weekly kind of like walk through the library, find out, ask your specific questions, talk with the librarian as we walk. If you're just, trying to figure out how to get access to textbooks, for example, we can connect you with the folks running the first year low income partnership library, which is also an important resource. We have a full library within our library of all the required textbooks for many classes. And if you identify as first generation low income, you can check those out for an entire semester. And hopefully that is a way of saving money on books. But, you might have a question that's about a resource like that, or you might just want to know, how do I use the other centers that are connected to the library? So we have like the design center, the empirical reasoning center, the digital humanities center, the movement lab. There's all these affiliated centers, and I think sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming to students. Like they're like, okay, well, how,
where do I begin?
Where do I begin? All of those centers have like introductory workshops, and of course you can find that information online. But if you're like me, it's helpful to like connect with a person to get information. So we're going to be offering some walkthroughs, and I'll definitely share that information with you, Deshawn, when we have the specific times. The last thing I want to like give a boost to is our Undesign the Red Line exhibit. We've been working really hard on bringing that to the Milstein lobby, and it will be installed by the first week of September. It may not be here when you're moving into your dorm, but you can keep your eyes open for it. And basically, it's this really engaging experience of 5 different parts where you walk through and you really get to think about how did this policy that, like, as you mentioned in the intro, that took place in the 30s, how is it still showing up today? What does Harlem look like as a result of some of the decisions that were made back then? What are people doing about that? And there's also a timeline of looking at policies in the US from Reconstruction all the way to now, when we have problems with mass incarceration. And it's looking at these really difficult challenges that we're all thinking about often, right, in different disciplines. Like we're talking about in sociology, urban studies. If you're in a drama class, you might be looking at A Raisin in the Sun. Alice Reagan teaches that in the fall. And there are a lot of courses. I think I counted like 80 courses over the course of a Barnard academic year that do something that connects to redlining as a history. But we're creating a space in the library for people to really think about that together, and to walk through the history together. And then hopefully you'll participate in some conversations either through your classes. We have 12 faculty who are going to like incorporate the exhibit into their classes. And we're going to do some other programming around it. So.
Yeah, and it's an important conversation to have because segregation has been a big part of the U.S. experience for so long, and so hopefully with students having access to this exhibit, it may hopefully inspire some of the work that they do while at Barnard or even beyond in their careers by connecting with these materials. So it's amazing to hear all the things that the library, offers. And I feel like each time I have a conversation with you or a member of your team, I'm like, oh, this another thing that, you're adding. And it's like, I'm just amazed by just the plethora of resources available. As you know, and you mentioned it a little bit, that the pandemic has kind of changed, how we do things. We have many students who are returning to campus and haven't been to campus in quite some time, but also some of our first years who are rising sophomores may have never seen, the campus, at all. So for those of who aren't familiar, where's the library located, and also what's your favorite thing or space, in the library?
Yeah, that's always a hard question to answer. Okay, so the library is located in the newest building on Barnard's campus. It is the Milstein Center, which is right in the middle of the campus. So when you walk through the gates and into the center, where we right now have a huge tent, it's facing the Diana, and you can kind of see it from everywhere. You can see it from across the street. It's pretty cool how much space it sort of takes up, but it also is kind of subtle because it has like these lovely terraces, and on every terrace there's like a green area. So there are patches of green. There's even one terrace level, I think it's 4, where there's some gardening going on that a student group is running. So it's a beautiful building, and as a librarian who has sometimes worked in buildings that don't have any light, which is really depressing. I love it because there's so much light in this building, and people to come sit down in the chairs that face the windows, and those windows look out at Columbia University and Broadway. So if you want to get like a good study space in the library, be aware that there are these popular spots. The big green chairs by the windows, check those out. There's also like more quiet and private areas, like the nooks that are on the second floor. They're like little, caves that you can sit in, but you can still get enough light to interact with the rest of the world.
I think one of
And
them is like a meditation space as well.
there is a meditation space on the fourth floor. Yes, and it has a yoga mat, and you can use it to rest, contemplate or pray. We also that actually what we do is we have a progressive stack of like from noisy to quiet. So if you start on the first floor, that's the most like energetic space. There's a lot of seating areas, but it's also like heavy traffic. People are going to and from to classes. Second floor is a little bit quieter, but there's a lot of transactions happening. That's where the circulation desk is. The third floor, you can kind of look down at the second floor. And so there's still some like chatter that's coming up, but it's quieter. And that's actually where the personal librarian suite is. And that's where you'll find most of your librarians if you want to do a walk-in visit. We're on the third floor, north side. And then the fourth floor is a quiet area. And also on the north side of the fourth floor is the archives. And the archives loves to have people. The archivists who work in the archives love having people come and just study there. It's not like your usual archives reading room where you have to put on like white gloves and like be super quiet. Like they like to have energy in that space. So.
Yeah, which is perfect for our students who are very energetic and passionate about what they do. And it's great to hear that Milstein, just in addition to being a beautiful building, this kind of the structure of it is intentional with how students will engage with the space and how their studies and academic work is supported.
Totally.
And many of our students are always looking for ways to connect and need different points of connecting with folks. I'm sorry, I know you've mentioned the in-person engagement, but is the library on social media, or like have its own website and things of that nature that students can connect with and look out for to hear about these resources and opportunities that you all make available to them?
Yes, definitely. So we have profiles on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm probably forgetting one of the social media channels, but if you just look for @BarnLib, you'll find us, and you can choose your favorite way of getting new updates from us. Our website is pretty active. We're always advertising the events that happen both in the library and the centers, and we have a newsletter that we encourage people to sign up for. It's called @BarnLib. And so if you go to one of our channels, you'll see a way to sign up for the newsletter, and I encourage you to do that because every month you'll get like kind of a preview of what's happening, and it's kind of easier to get it that way. But your personal librarian will also write to you with like a digest of things at least 3 times a semester, kind of just saying like, hey, like here's some things you might want to do. Here's some things that I'm doing. This is where you can find me. So look out for those emails.
Yes. And before we wrap up, is there anything that, any parting words we'd like to give our students about the library?
Sure. I mean, I think come and see us. I think that's been my message throughout. It's funny to hear sometimes people say like they didn't know they could just do X. Like they didn't know they could just come and see their librarian about any topic. They didn't know that they could attend a workshop at the design center if they didn't know anything about like the things that are happening in the design center. So my point is, even if you're not sure it's the place that you want to hang out in long term, or that you know what's going on there, please, come in and approach us. That's what the space is designed to be. It's a judgment-free space. Nobody's getting graded in the library. And if there's something that you're looking for that we don't have, we want to hear about it. So if there's kind of books that you're looking for, we love when we get like suggestions from students. Books, movies, whatever it is that you need to make your experience at Barnard more fulfilling. And I want to plug the BIPOC alum collection. As a student of color at a small liberal arts college like Barnard, it took me forever to find out that there were people who, like me, who had attended the school and were interested in the same things that I was. And so that's one of the things that I think is really cool about our collection. Vani Natarajan started it with some students, and it's in the front. It's next to the circulation desk on the second floor. So you can go and peruse the books. And if there's a Barnard alum that has published or created something and you want it to be featured there, we can add it to the collection.
Oh, that's amazing. Especially, for a BIPOC student, representation is, it really does, matter. So to hear that the library provides that and kind of honors and celebrates the contributions of, BIPOC alum is amazing. And I look forward to checking that out myself to see what's there. But thank you so much for, doing this and being here. And, I know I've learned a great deal from you about the library. Like I said, each time we have a conversation, I learn more and more. And it, inspires me and gets me excited about the connections that, we have. And I know the same is going to be true for our students who are learning about all the amazing things that you and your team have to offer.
Thanks, Deshawn. I appreciate you having me on your series, and I'm excited to meet all the students who want to come to the table and hang out with us on Tuesday.
Yeah, so Tuesday, July 27th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can find myself, Miriam, and other members of the Barnard Library team outside on Federal Field with some snacks. And, we hope you stop by and get to know us, for those of you who are still on campus. And it's right across from those big windows with the green chairs in the library that Miriam mentioned. So if you're in the library and you turn around, you'll see us there with our snacks and, having a good time. So we look forward to seeing all of you there.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.